Hi, I'm Emily Zaccardi, CEO and founder of HollarHype, a voice tech company focused on emotional support. I'm excited to share a bit about our mission and our product with you today as we are really engaged in the idea of offering our services to the public sector. And the reason for that is because HollarHype is a company that's really focused on human connection. And when we think about what it means to mobilize really important projects designed for impact, we know that that starts at the individual level. And what really began our journey in creating our tech platform, HollarHype, is our understanding of how disconnected people can feel, even if they're oftentimes surrounded by others or have people in their lives that they talk to on a daily basis. There are still oftentimes these feelings of disconnect that can prevent somebody from feeling confident, engaged, able to move their work forward, oftentimes move their lives forward. This idea of disconnect only amplified throughout the pandemic, which we all experienced in a variety of different but overwhelming ways. And we became even more motivated to use our tool to help people actually foster deeper connections to feel more supported in their lives. And that's what HollarHype is aimed to do. We're a platform that unifies people in key moments through the power of voice. And our communication solution is really designed to turn the idea of connecting with others on its head, in the sense of right now, when you want to communicate with people, you have to almost guess, is this a good time to reach out? Is this email going to land? Is this text message going to be received at the right time? Should I call them? Which ultimately lands us at this idea of uncertainty. And it's a really broad feeling. Everyone's familiar with it. And what does that have to do with the public sector? Of course, well, again, the hundreds of thousands, if not more, people who are helping to move our society forward. They're part of these larger organizations. They're really essential teams, but at the root of it, they're human, they're an individual. And when we face uncertainty, we can find friction in our workflows. We can feel stuck on a personal level. And as I briefly touched on, wondering if you have landed on the right time to connect with somebody, if you are second guessing, am I the right person to actually reach out in this moment? Or do I have enough context to actually engage with this person? There are all of these obstacles that come up in our minds that can prevent us from seeking that human connection that really is essential in moving forward in our lives. There's a reason why we're not meant to do everything alone. And HollarHype creates this type of connection that reduces those barriers around self-doubt, second guessing, disconnection. And again, it's at the crux of communication. How do we think about this differently? We're in a world now that have so many overwhelming obstacles in front of us. If we can improve the way that we communicate, well, we believe that the outcome of our work will A, become stronger, and B, maybe even move along a bit faster. So how does HollarHype even work? What does this platform do exactly? There's two different audiences that we serve. There's the primary user, and then there's the supporter. And if you're a primary user of HollarHype, you might say, okay, I'm up against this challenge. I want to receive some support, but I'm not exactly up for a phone call, not looking for emails. Maybe I'm not even looking for advice, but I'm ready to hear from people that get what I'm going through. So I'm going to go live. And when you go live, it's like you're sending this bat signal up, like, hey, I'm ready, I'm here. I want to hear from my trust-based network. I want to hear from my peers. And at that point, you set it and forget it. And that's where our voice technology comes into play. You engage with whatever your activity at hand is. Maybe you're listening to some music, focusing on other things. And at this point, your supporters receive this notification saying, hey, so-and-so is out there, your friend, your mom, your coworker, whoever it might be that you're connected with in this trust-based group. This is a good time to reach out to them. And at that point, the supporter records a voice message, hit send, and it immersively delivers through your headphones or the speaker of your phone in real time And what we create through our tech in terms of the end result is experiential support, where the end user, that primary user, does not have the pressure to respond or the distraction to accept, which ultimately differentiates this mode of communication. And if we imagine using a platform like this when we are working on any sort of activity or challenge that really requires our attention but feels like it could be pretty challenging, this type of communication is approachable. And our hypothesis, I guess, is that more people that can if there are more people who can receive support in a way that is not overwhelming and is in fact approachable, well, as a collective society, we will feel more supported in what we do. So back to the public sector, what are some use cases for a consumer facing technology platform like HollarHype? Well, when we think about folks who are actually leading our policy forward, senators, members of Congress, they could use something like HollarHype to actually hear from their constituents in the most convenient times. Maybe they're out for a bike ride, maybe they're out for a walk, and they just want to say, hey, what's on your mind? This is actually a good time for me to hear from you. In this sense, those public-facing leaders can receive this real-time communication in a way that does not require any coordination and does not pose any sort of overwhelm in terms of the pressure to respond. Yet the emotional connection that can happen in an instance like that is quite authentic. And we know that those types of engagement opportunities are really important to help keep our national leaders engaged with what is truly important at the root of our societies. When we think about how many folks are helping to move our society forward in the face of science, for example, hundreds of thousands of people that are working in very large organizations very diligently to make sure that we understand the breakthrough sciences that will help keep us help keep us safe, supported, ahead of the curve. Those types of organizations could use our platform in an enterprise capacity where they can actually use HollarHype as a content channel to send meaningful messaging without causing any distraction to these folks who are really focused at the task at hand. When we think about our dedicated folks overseas or our veterans who have come home from overseas, a communication tool like HollarHype, which has been designed thoughtfully to promote engagement in an approachable way that doesn't create overwhelm. We are excited to think that a solution like this can really ensure that these folks feel supported at the most key moments where they might feel overwhelmed. Again, connecting them with their trust-based network. And one of the final applications that we're pretty enthusiastic about is the idea of leveraging HollarHype through Medicaid to serve all of the aging folks in our community, people that might be literally living in isolation, feeling overwhelmed by the lack of social interaction that goes on in their day. Our tool is designed to help create really meaningful, authentic connection for people that can really suffer the consequences from not receiving that. So we oftentimes think about how many people it takes to help move our healthy communities forward. And so much of that comes from the hard work that goes on in the public sector. And we look forward to finding ways that we can forge partnerships with all different types of organizations and entities that agree that emotional support and authentic engagement can help actually strengthen these key communities for the better of everyone involved. And that's a summary of why we are so focused on building responsible technology for the benefit of emotional support in our communities. We're looking to partner with champions who want to pilot our technology within their organizations and help us understand how we can continue to move the evolving opportunities and communication forward.